Father Mangun's decision to live with the community on the bank of the Code apparently received permission and support from the Archbishop of Semarang, at the time, Julius Dharma Atmaja. So in the early 80s, Father Mangun started humanitarian work there, one of which was creating livable and dignified settlements for people who were always marginalized.
According to Father Mangun, architecture is the expression and realization of human self, not a mask. That's why need an element of honesty in there.
And every human being, big or small in size, rich or poor, high or low positions, they all have the same and equal rights. We should all try to allow a fair share of architecture because, as has been shown on the great works of the world, architecture which has been built with poor materials turns out to be able to produce beautiful results if they followed natural preconditions. Father Mangun's struggle on the banks of the Code was not easy. He has to face challenges and serious conflicts that come from outside and inside.
At that time, the Yogyakarta regional government was determined to carry out the eviction because it would be used as a city park, but Father Mangun strongly opposed it.
When all his diplomatic efforts reached a dead end, Father Mangun declared his stance on fasting, hunger strike. This plan was broadcast to mass media and received support from the wider public. For Father Mangun, his actions were not just a form of protest, but a desire to pay off a debt from the past when he was a student army during the War for Independence.
Thanks to tireless struggle, in December 1986, Father Mangun won the lawsuit. The eviction plan was cancelled.
He and Mrs. Murniati Prasetyo were invited to Jakarta to receive the Humanity Award from legal aid agencies of Republic of Indonesia
to coincide with the World Human Rights Day.
Not long after completing the housing construction on Kali Code in early 1988, Father Mangun continued his humanitarian work again. This time in Grigik area, Central Java, which is 41 kilometers from city of Yogyakarta. For years, the people of Grigik have had difficulty getting clean water because of the lack of springs in the area. Together with volunteer, Father Mangun built irrigation facilities by installing a pump pipe to channel clean water from a spring located on the edge of the coastal cliff. Just like in Code, Father Mangun built a simple bamboo house for his daily activities, including writing several books. Father Mangun's humanitarian work in this arid land, close to the sea, was greatly felt by the local community.
And this day, they remember Father Mangun as a fighter for humanity in the quiet nature of the Grigik area. The Keding Umbu incident was an event where residents refused to eviction and move their residential location because their land would be used as Keding Umbu Reservoir.
This refusal was due to the small amount of compensation provided by the New Order government. In fact, the reservoir whose funding was obtained from World Bank loan is fantastic value.
However, due to the large number of compensation cuts, the value obtained by the community is very worrying.
The case became a trending topic and caught the attention of the Indonesian and international public throughout the 1990s. In fact, after leaving Grigik, Father Mangun's health condition was not good.
In early 1989, Father Mangun was forced to be treated for several weeks at Elizabeth Hospital, Semarang, due to a heart defect.
However, the suffering and injustice received by the community because of the Keding Umbu incident which he read about in newspapers and magazines, seemed to outweigh the pain for Father Mangun. After being allowed to go home from the hospital, Father Mangun accepted the invitation of volunteers
to help the eviction victims in Kedingumbu, who were still surviving there. Compared to his humanitarian work in Code and Grigik, the Kedingumbu incident provides another color. This case is not just about compensation, but also includes violations of human rights.
Because pressure and coercion by people to leave their homes tends to be characterized by elements of violence. And the role of the New Order military was present in this incident. A big case then dragged Father Mangun into political turmoil that threatened his life.
However, Father Mangun was not afraid of all the terror and intimidation that attacked him.
Together with volunteer and sympathizer, Father Mangun provided assistance to families whose lives were threatened because of the reservoir project. He also tried to provide assistance to thousands of victimized children so they could still get an education because their schools had been destroyed.
Namely by creating a floating school, visiting the children so they can continue learning.
A humanitarian struggle to fight the moral bankruptcy of the New Order era.
The struggle to save a history that is sinking. Reading the life of Mangunwijaya or Father Mangun, finally we come to the conclusion that through various methods Father Mangun carries out social movements in the context of humanization, respecting humans according to their dignity and worth. Social movements cannot be interpreted as collective actions aimed at increasing status, power, or influence.
Father Mangun's social movement is more of an effort to achieve goals through actions that challenge the status quo, authority, and established culture. In Father Mangun's social movement, collective actions and collective behavior develop together, unite, and enrich with the main aim of the common good, not self-interest.
Not trapped in the concepts of classical and neoclassical social movements.
Father Mangun uses the term theology of independence. Humans become independent, they become their own potential in opposition to the domination of the repressive regime of their time. Father Mangun's social movements are humanitarian movements, idea movements, moral movements, popular movements, and cultural movements. As can also be seen in Father Mangun's legacy in the field of education, the Basic Educational Dynamics Laboratory, and the Mangunan School in Kalasan, Central Java.
Father Mangun's way of thinking is always out of the box, out of the mainstream and general. So it often gives a strange impression to those who don't understand it. Through literary works, Father Mangun is free to enter a world without boundaries and barriers of education, age, and background. His novels are a reflection and complement to his tireless struggle.
Apart from works of fiction, various articles, architectural works, and his theological reflective books have positioned Father Mangun not only as a thinker behind a desk, but also as a thinker in field. Father Mangun took a step, entering an unsafe and risky zone, leaving the coolness of the church chapel and being willing to bask in the heat with marginalized people. He was immune to the issue of Christianity and was even willing to be labeled a communist, a nickname which at that time meant entering the box.
He led a demonstration wearing a farmer's hat to fight for the interests of farmers on the campus grounds of Gadjah Mada University. Mingle and correspond with decision-making officials. He used correspondence when accompanying the Code community, the Kedingumbu community,
as well as his close colleague during his studies in Germany, B.J. Habibie as President of the Republic of Indonesia.
In the case of East Timor, also had close relations with interfaith figures, including Abdurrahman Wahid. For Father Mangun, religion is only a tool to achieve the goals of humanity. He was so close with Sobari, he was so close with Gus Dur, so close with Sumartana, and also so close with Madam Gadang Bagus Oka. YB Mangunwijaya died in Jakarta on February 10, 1999. In the midst of his state duties, speaking at the Le Méridien Hotel, due to a heart attack.
The seminar, which was attended by several figures who discussed the role of books in shaping new Indonesian society, suddenly turned into a mourning room.
A very symbolic departure. Fall asleep peacefully. Amidst piles of seminar materials, books, discussion, and hopes for a better Indonesia.
The man who identified with a white beard and hair that seems untidy is indeed a very modest and simple figure.
Of the dozens of books and hundreds of writing he left behind, he almost never talked about who he was. He never even wrote a personal life story. So with the discourse on promoting Father Mangun as an Indonesian national hero,
coincidence with the 25th anniversary of his passing, by various academic circle and observers of humanitarian issues. It is certainly not what he wants, but indeed life requires the legitimacy of traces that can always be remembered by current and future generations.
At the same time, as a form of respect and deep gratitude for all his dedication and contribution to his beloved homeland, Indonesia.